This is the Frank and Friends Show. Hi, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Becca James, the girl with two first names.
And no electricity.
No, thank you for letting me steal some of your air conditioning, Frank.
I even turned it down a notch. We'll get to that in a moment. Please do like and subscribe. And if you have, ring the bell for notifications, because that was planned so that you don't miss any of our episodes on YouTube. We have inched another few subscribers up.
Yay,
and I was
you.
so excited because... but then we went back down, and then we're back up. Oh. It's just one of those things that just drives me crazy, but
You're toying with our hearts.
I can't look at the numbers. I can't look at the numbers for that exact reason. Maybe that was my wife reminding me that I forgot to put my wedding ring on. I got dressed in such a hurry, and it's...
Well, yeah, so I'm a smartwatch person now.
Yeah?
So I mainly...
What kind of watch is that?
I don't know, some kind of letters and numbers. You know it's not an Apple Watch, right?
No, I don't.
Like you, I like to spend money, but I like to shop, but I don't like to spend my money.
My wife has an Apple Watch now, so it looks similar to that. That's what I'm asking.
Yes, but it's some cheaper version on Amazon I got on sale for Prime Day. It does. It works. It's waterproof. I've been swimming with it several times. Every time I'm still like, is it going to hold up? But I mean, we've been in the lake. We've been in the pool.
Does it cough at the end?
There's a little button where it says like drain water,
yeah.
And like you can hear it like kind of make a noise, and they're like shake your arm,
yeah.
And
that freaked me out because my daughter was here, and I see her in the pool, and she's left her watch on. I'm like, you left your watch on? She's like, I know. And then she told my wife to try it because my wife has my daughter's old Apple Watch. My daughter got a new one for some holiday or something, and so they come out of it and they do something, and it kind of makes it a little.
Like it's exasperated that it swam with it.
Now, I haven't worn anything since the company for which we used to work forced us to wear Fitbits.
Oh.
Do you remember?
So I do. So I'm one of those people that, like, you give me a challenge, woo, I'm going to get at it. And I actually noticed in my current role, I sit down in an office all day. So I used to stand, move around constantly.
You used to march in place while you were on the air.
I would occasionally dance if I liked the song, which was often.
But we were used to that stand-up radio studio.
Yeah.
Which is why, for my at-home radio, instead of doing it here at this table, I do it at the counter in the kitchen so that I can stand up and do that pacing like you used to do.
So here's
I look as crazy as you. I thought I could slide that in.
No.
I thought I could slide that in while she was saying, here's the behind-the-scenes thing.
So the other reason why a lot of radio DJs stand when they're behind the mic is it helps with energy, like in a natural way without feeling forced.
Frankly, it looks like we're doing the pee-pee dance, if you want to know.
Maybe that's what you look like. I just look crazy because I would literally march in place to get my steps because we had these Fitbits. It was a challenge. And then it was just... Once I had kids, I didn't have time to exercise. I still barely have time, but I'm trying. So I like that my smartwatch now, on my home screen, I have my steps.
Oh.
I'm already at 2,500 for the morning, and it's 8 o'clock. And part of that is, as you alluded to, the lack of electricity. And I get it. There are people in way worse situations right now. I believe an actual tornado touched down in Hardin Valley, and there's an apartment complex that they had their roof torn off, and my hearts go out to them. But I'm also looking at no power until 9 o'clock. And,
tonight, p.m.
Tonight.
Not an hour from now, but 13 hours from now.
Yes. So, and it's been quite the adventure. So.
Well, I want to talk about all of your issues, and I have to put one little tag on the Fitbit bit.
Oh, okay.
I also marched in place with the Fitbit and literally sprained my ankle while marching in place to get more steps to save on my health insurance. Thank you.
How did you sprain your ankle?
I don't know, but I did, and I had to wear a boot for 2 months.
Why don't I remember that either?
Because I went to Cincinnati for the leadership champions in the boot. I had just gotten it. I was so miserable. Anyway.
Having worn a cast for a few months this year, I get it. It's miserable.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
So here we are by the way, you can get our merch. I don't think we have anything that would cool you off merch-wise, except for the cool water I've got in here.
Yes, water versus coffee this morning.
Our Frank and Friends Show towels might come in handy. If you need to mop up.
To mop the sweat.
Or as everything in your freezer melts.
Please, so we Googled it. If you keep your freezers closed, They should be insulated enough
But
to
you've
last
got
48 hours.
Small boys. How are you going to keep the freezers
The
closed?
freezers closed, not the refrigerators, but the freezer portions, because we have 2 fridges and a stand-up freezer, or not a stand-up freezer, but an extra.
I can relate to this. My daughter
freezer.
has an extra fridge in the basement because they buy, gallons and gallons. I took the boys to the grocery store to get a gallon of milk. It already automatically picks up like 2 and goes back to get 2 more.
They go
slow
through
down,
it.
slow down, boy.
Between milk and yogurt, we go through so much dairy in our house.
Yeah.
But so and we're meal preppers. We're those people. We meal prep. So, and then my mom's coming in town at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So, and it's back to school shopping time.
Oh boy.
So there's sales on everything, all the kids stuff. So when I say that my fridges were stocked.
With perishables, yeah.
So we finally go to sleep, have it uncomfortable. I wake up at 3:30.
So let's take you through the timeline.
Okay.
On Monday afternoon around 2 o'clock, we get a severe thunderstorm, and there's a tornado watch, which isn't even a warning. But we found out later, I think, that something, obviously a very heavy winds blew through, and people saw
like
funnel
80
clouds.
miles per hour, but we heard that there were some tornadoes.
Yeah.
I haven't verified it this morning because I'm running on very low
You
batteries.
can Google that. We don't need to. We're not your news source.
No, we're opinion only. We're not factual in any sense. No, we're not experts here. But I heard winds of like 80 miles per hour, so there were down trees everywhere. It was a really bad situation. So
I saw some of these pictures. A lot of my Facebook friends had these
it was
massive
shocking.
trees. In fact, one of them, I think it was maybe our DJ Eric B or somebody like that, had a big tree come down. Thankfully, it didn't hit his house. It just destroyed the fence. And he puts a picture of it and makes some reference to that was some big old healthy tree, or maybe that might have been a different friend who said that. But you can see the whole inside of the tree is rotten. So it was going to come down anyway.
Yeah, it's like, well, there you go. Well, yeah, so all of this, luckily I've got a neighbor who works from home, so after the storm had ended, I texted her and she's like, hey, just checking on you, are you okay? Is the neighborhood okay? What's the situation? And she's like, well, we've been out without power.
Oh, so you were downtown at work.
I was downtown at work
during the storm.
And power went out while I was at work,
where
but
were
it
the
came back
boys?
pretty good. The boys were at daycare,
Okay.
and we got a message from them pretty early on that they have this downstairs area, so for safety, they had taken all of the kids down there.
They did send out a notice, like, severe thunderstorm, get away from your windows, and that's how big of a storm it was.
So a tree came down on one of their fences for one of the playgrounds, but everybody was inside. Kids are all safe, so I already know the kids are safe. Now I'm checking on the neighborhood, and I found out from the neighbor, like, no power. This is probably like
Where
4
does the
o'clock.
husband rank on this scale of check the kids, check the neighbor, check... Where does husband fall?
The husband called right after we got the message from the
Okay.
daycare to check on me.
Just wanted to
So
make sure.
sorry. So
I think of him every month when I get my life insurance bill.
yes, my husband's an insurance agent, so if you need it, Jeanette Rogers State Farm, please call him. Why not? Shameless plug.
I got the bill yesterday. I really literally thought of your husband.
They'll save you money. Anyways, so family is okay. Checking on the house. The house is okay, but without power. I plan to work. We're members of the YMCA now, and I plan to work out.
So you can swim.
Yes, so I can swim.
With the watch, not Apple Watch. With the, what would that be? A banana watch? I mean, it would be some other fruit watch that can get wet.
The Aldi fruit watch. I don't know.
Nice.
The knockoff fruit. Whatever.
I like it.
But I'm not no knocks at Aldi.
I love Aldi.
Yes.
That's where I took the boys to buy all that milk.
So I was like, okay, my husband was going to pick up the boys to go home. So I was like, okay, they have childcare till 8 o'clock during the week. So I was like, I called the husband back. I was like, look, I'm going to go pick up the boys. I'm going to take them to the Y so that I can get my workout in as planned. The kids have something to do. They have air conditioning.
Does the Y have electricity? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they did. They didn't have internet, but they had electricity. So my husband had a chance to go home, check on the house, determine that there's still no power. So we're communicating. He ends up going to get pizza, so we meet at the house. We have a picnic dinner on our driveway.
You know what we should have done is plugged in your phone as soon as you got here.
Right, because if I had remembered to bring a charger, that would have been smart. But I have one at work, so it's fine.
Pass your phone over. I can spare this one.
Okay. If the broadcast goes dead in the middle of filming this, we'll know why.
No, it's fine. It'll be fine. There, look at that. I'm helping you out. 30% charge.
Yeah.
You're going to get. We'll get you up to something higher before you go.
Like 50% maybe.
You go. You'll be fine.
So luckily we have all the camping supplies. We've been camping once in the 10 years that we've lived here. We have lanterns.
Was that before the kids were born?
Actually, we bought some of this stuff since they were born, hoping to take them camping. Anyways, that's a different story completely. But just to say that we have 6 coolers in our house. We have lanterns. We have all this stuff.
She showed me the picture of this little just lined up. It looks like
basically, and it's one of those times. Like every now and then, I look at it. I'm like, why do we have all this stuff?
now.
These are the days. Yes.
These are the days.
So now going through sleep, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm checking the power outage map. It was supposed to be repaired by 11 a.m. this morning. Now it's going to be 9 p.m. tonight. And my brain goes into planning mode because I'm an overthinker. And I'm like, we have all this food. As I mentioned, my mom's coming in town. We are fully stocked. I'm like, that is hundreds of dollars of food. And again, I don't like this. Yes. I don't like to spend money. I really don't like wasting money.
You and I are equally cheap. And in fact, I really thought...
I prefer the word frugal.
Okay. They used to call me Frugal Frank.
for good reason.
We can call you Bargain Becca.
I like it.
That'll be our spin-off podcast that'll actually get viewers. I watch the deal guy every month to see what he's going to buy.
So I follow the crazy coupon lady. That's who I follow.
I'm just saying, we could do this. We could go to Aldi and say, look at hold up things.
I'm just not as good as it, because if it's not convenient for me, if I can't just add coupons to an app and then just scan it and go. I go as far as I do my Kroger coupons, and I bought an app to get some money back.
Okay.
And that's about as deep as I go. Yeah, I tried couponing. Mm-hmm. We're digressing.
Well, I thought I would get it. I was delighted that you're here, number one, because I didn't know that your power was going to be out until 9 p.m. I sent you a news article last night saying that some people are going to be out of power until 9 p.m. I thought, oh, no.
I didn't even read that. I thought you were sending it so that I could keep track of my power outage.
Well, all right. Well, I sent you the link, whatever it was, and it said some people are going to be out of power for 24 hours plus, which would be from basically 2 p.m., 24 hours and then another 7 on top of that.
Yes.
So whatever that is, 31 hours.
Yeah.
So, and mine was out for 3 minutes, came back on, thankfully. I'm delighted, and just the way the storm flew, it got heavier to the north and the south of us, and we rode that little middle part.
Yeah, you were like the eye in the storm.
It went through, and nothing, very little, it looked bad at the time.
Oh yeah, it looked terrifying.
And I'll get it, and I'm not even going to talk about my fig tree damage on this episode, you lucky bean, because it's nothing compared to what other people went through.
Yeah, and like I said, there are way worse situations than mine, but...
So when I texted you this last night, I'm like, well, if you want, you can come over and use some electricity in the morning. Maybe you need the hairdryer. Maybe you need something.
Yeah, I didn't even bother.
But then I thought,
even bother with the hair today.
What if she just has to cancel?
Yeah, well, I thought about it, but then, again, so I saw that text at 3:30 this morning because my brain's never...
I sent it, at 9:30 last night?
Yeah, something like that. And and I was trying to do that thing where let me go back to sleep. And then finally I'm like, if I try to sleep and get an hour, I'm going to be more tired. So I'm just going to get up.
You've been up since 3:30.
I've been up since 3:30.
You sound amped. I'm just saying.
Caffeine works. Caffeine and adrenaline, because again, this plan. So again, 6 coolers because of all this camping that we don't do.
But you didn't cancel on me because
you have air conditioning, and I needed a cool place to put on my makeup this morning. Come on now. Especially after running around for 3 hours this morning. I did 2 trips to Walmart, 16 bags of ice.
All this morning? That was...
This morning. Because, and in my brain, I'm like, I should have thought of this last night. But in my head, I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. Right. And I swore to my husband, we had this conversation before bed. I'm like, you know what's going to happen. I'm like, the power's going to come on in the middle of the night and wake us up, because the way our alarm system works is when the power comes back on, after about a minute or two, the alarm just starts going off.
Oh, wow.
And it's obnoxious. And we absolutely were like, that's what's going to happen tonight.
It's like
I wish that had happened last night.
I have weird things that happen when the power goes off and comes back on. In my bedroom, I've got a smart light bulb, so I can tell Amazon Echo to turn it on and turn it off, right?
Oh.
I can say, Alexa, turn on the bedroom light. And usually it makes a noise.
Alexa's asleep today.
Alexa, turn off the bedroom light.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Then there's that noise.
There's the noise.
But when the power comes back on, the bedroom light comes on just no matter what time it is. And it's on, it's on a timer, and it's got the voice command. So that would be a thing in the middle of the night for me, just to all of a sudden get blasted with that.
Yeah.
And the other noises of the house, it's so deathly quiet when the power's out. All the background noise that you're used to.
One of our sons had a lot of trouble sleeping last night because he kept hearing noises that scared him.
Do they listen to white noise?
Yeah, they have a white noise maker, and they've had since they were babies, and it's always been on. So, and at some point, I think it was really just my husband and I moving around the house that he was just hearing these noises that he never hears. So Brady must have finally gone to sleep somewhere after 9 o'clock last night, because we went to bed around 10 because we're like, well, we're bored, let's go to sleep. So at least I got 5 hours of sleep before I woke up at 3:30.
A couple of weeks ago, when Artie and Timmy were here, they listen to white noise. Already likes thunderstorms. So I moved an extra Amazon Dot that I had, and set it up in the room that they're going to be in, and he can run it himself. He's more experienced at it than I am. Frankly, when I came in one day and he was using it as a phone to call his mom, because he doesn't know. He goes, though he's memorized all their phone numbers, because he doesn't know how I have his mother and father stored in the machine. So he just says, you know who, call 703 blah 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 blah.
So we're gonna go back to the days when kids remember phone numbers again?
I'm just saying my grandchildren.
I still know my childhood phone number.
I know all mine. Yeah, my grandchildren are maybe a tad unusual. So
you said it, Frank, not me.
There was an actual thunderstorm happening, and my wife starts to turn on the fake thunderstorm noise on the.
Well, you don't want it to stop and then wake him up because the noise goes away.
Well, no, we said to him, "What do you want?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm fine." So they slept to an actual thunderstorm one of the nights they were here. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Let me get to the commercial for our friends at bonezones.com. Don't forget the S, because I left my Ron Ledbetter book over on the other side of the room. Oh well, I got the new it's thick. The Ron Ledbetter book. He's the one who was the former general counsel at UT, and he's written this amazing life story of his travels. And I've started reading it, but it's a nice big heavy volume. And he'll be doing a speaking appearance. You can learn about it at bonezones.com. Also, I think we've got some other of the guys, maybe a Sam Venable, others. And of
Do you still have some of the autographed books and all that?
Yeah, all these guys now have seen what Bone Zones did with Dr. Bass, who will be 95 this month.
Oh.
And has pretty much said he's done with this public speaking. He gets his Meniere's disease in his ear, makes it uncomfortable. So why be uncomfortable? You're 95. You can stay home and be comfortable, or you can go out and be uncomfortable.
He has earned the right to do what he wants.
Yeah.
Or not do what he doesn't want.
You do still have opportunities to get Body Farm merchandise, Dr. Bass merchandise, and you still have the opportunity to have him autograph it to you. I found Mo.
Mo is his turtle.
All right, I'll get back to you, Mo. I couldn't remember where I hid Mo. All right, anyway, I put him in the box of dead things. That makes such total sense.
It really kind of does.
Because here's the Dr. Bill Bass groupie hat with the skeleton on it. We've got, I think I've shown you the paperweight skull. This is the silver skull, which is nice.
Not to be confused with that really horrible Indiana Jones movie.
There's a question on Scholars Bowl about the first one where he's got that little.
Is that Temple of Doom?
The very first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he's putting the sand and he's trying to guess.
He's trying to weigh the bag, yeah.
But you know what it is that he's taking? We remember it as kind of a golden skull, but it's actually a fertility idol.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. The one I've seen the most is not Raiders.
Raiders is the one I'm talking about.
What was the third one?
I don't know. Not Raiders. The one with Sean Connery?
Yes. That's the one I've seen the most.
Raiders of the Lost Connery. I don't know. Temple of Doom?
No.
It doesn't matter. We can
Holy
Google
Grail. It has something to do with the Holy Grail.
Oh, yes. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That was it. Totally got it. Well done. If it gets cold, Becca, you can get the long sleeve T-shirt, which is, I guess I've still got in time for planning ahead for winter and Halloween. You want to get the long sleeve Body Farm tee. And all the other fabulous items, including the books, such as the first fiction book, the novel Carved in Bone. There's a series of these. I just found a review of these online for someone who was just saying, oh, this is a good series if you want to know more about forensics. It's fun. They said it's not, not great literature. It's not supposed to be great literature. It's a thriller. It's a suspense novel. You turn the pages and you're trying to figure out who killed who.
I love great literature, but sometimes you just want the fluff.
Yeah, and those are all really good. And actually, it's fun to me because they get better as the guy goes along. That's his first novel.
Well, you would hope that he would learn more about the process.
Well, he was a technical writer. John Jefferson was a technical writer science writer at ORNL, and he met up with Dr. Bass, and they did a documentary, they did this nonfiction book, Death's Acre, and then they went down the path of creating a new character, Dr. Brockton, and putting him in peril in all these unusual situations. And I loved the books. They're very local, got a lot of East Tennessee references and all that. So go to bonezones.com. Don't forget the S, where you can also pick up the Ron Ledbetter books, some Sam Venable books, maybe some Bill Landry books, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, now.
So the turtle?
I did not. Remember last time you were here, I had hidden Mo. I had placed him somewhere up on one of the cabinets, right? And
Okay.
I remembered putting him there, and I remembered him taking him out so that you and I could do the show, because the little ones were here, Lucy and Charlie.
Yeah, and you gotta hide breakable things when little ones are around.
So I go there this morning to where I remember hiding Mo, and he's not there.
Okay.
And I started panicking, and now I've got to put him back where he goes.
But we also have to discuss the fact that Mo was once a real turtle.
Well, I mean, he's still technically a real turtle.
Well, but
he's just dead.
Soulless.
Yeah, he's not
So
taxidermy.
how did you acquire?
Oh, there's a whole story on this.
It's why I'm asking.
I'm sure I've done it on the podcast. I got to try to make this look a little better in the shot. We lived in California, and some of our neighbors had a clutch of desert tortoise eggs, and because these desert tortoises are susceptible to a respiratory disease, you're not allowed to release them into the wild. And you're also not allowed to sell them. You just have to find a good home for them. And then the person who receives the tortoise has to then apply to California Fish and Game for a permit. So we did all that. And we had him from the size, he was the size of a quarter. Aww. And we raised him. And he's supposed to have gotten bigger, but we moved him to Tennessee. And next thing you know, he's got the foam coming out of his nose. Well, I mean, it took a few months. But he's got the foam coming out of his nose. And he gets the respiratory disease. And he probably had it the whole time. But he died. And I put him in the freezer because I had power, and I unironically put him next to a container of Turtle Tracks ice cream, rather. And then I was working with Ashley Adams, and she happened to be going to Wetumpka, Alabama, to visit some in-laws.
Okay.
And we had been doing as a bit from a show prep service. There was Al Holmes Taxidermy. We used to, remember the old wireless flash or some of these show prep services?
Yeah.
With the phone numbers of the wacky people.
Yes.
So we would call Al Holmes Taxidermy in Wetumpka, Alabama, just to do taxidermy jokes because we were stupid morning DJs that had a bell. And so we call up Al and go, Al, I don't know what I'm going to do. My tortoise died. He goes, well, I'll fix him up for you. So we pack him in ice. I froze up some Aquafina bottles, put those in the cooler. So imagine like the coolers you've got, except it's full of ice, frozen Aquafina bottles, and a Tupperware with an ugly dead tortoise in it.
Oh my goodness.
Ashley drives it down to Alabama. The Aquafina has thawed by then, so they crack them open and drink them while they unpack Mo. And then next thing I know, a month or two later, I get a box, this really super lightweight box in the mail from Al Holmes Taxidermy, Wetumpka, Alabama. May he rest in peace. I assume he's resting in peace. Who knows where? I mean, I know he's dead.
I was like,
I Googled that he's dead. I just assumed
I
assume that he's resting in peace and not, posed somewhere.
That went morbid really quick.
And he has freeze-dried Mo and mailed him back to me, and now I have Mo.
Okay.
So thank you. I'm glad I'm sorry that I had to go into that jag because I literally.
Well, I was curious anyway because I remember you referencing him a few times, but I'm just like, why is he so important? So now I know.
Yeah.
And he was your actual pet once upon a time.
Pet.
And you raised him since he was a.
Right.
What is a baby turtle called? Just a baby turtle?
I think it's just a baby turtle, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, or hatchling usually when they're first hatched. And then that flower back there, I just went out and cut that moments ago. That is from my wife's hydrangea.
I'm very jealous. We have tried several times to get hydrangea to grow in our yard, and we managed to kill them every time.
This one I thought was dead after the freeze this past winter. But I trimmed it back, and next thing you know, it started growing again. And,
nice.
And I throw the coffee grounds on it to make the soil more acidic because it makes different colored flowers.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the flower color.
I did know that depending on the consistency of your soil.
I think if you don't do anything to them, they're white. But I think
it just depends on what the soil composition is wherever you plant them, and that's
because the more acidic the soil, I think the bluer they get. I don't know. Well, anyway, that one's kind of pinkish purple.
Yeah, that was really pretty.
I thought it looked nice, and I put it out back there. So, anyway, because now allegedly I'm the green thumb guy. My wife thinks.
Well, at least you are. I manage to kill plants all the time.
Me too. I thought. But my wife is looking at back to school, right?
But you've kept the fig plants alive all this time, and
my wife's got this plant in her office, or these series of plants in her office, and they looked. First day of school, she gets in there and like, oh, those look terrible. So
had she watered them all summer?
She says she did.
Okay.
Says she did. Or things, I don't know. So she goes and buys fake plants at Walmart and replaces them. And I don't know if she's told anybody at the office, but now the real plants are here and I'm supposed to somehow save them. They're out there on the porch. I'm trying to figure out.
Just Google it.
I guess.
Aren't there apps now that show you how to save plants? I'm pretty sure I've seen ads for
the ad on Instagram, but I'm not going to click on it because last time I clicked on an ad on Instagram, I ended up buying this magic weight loss powder.
How's that going?
I've lost a few pounds, but I mean, it says on the instructions, for best results, don't eat bread or sugar. And I'm not ready to give up the bread and the sugar yet, but I've tried to cut back a little.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
It's more about portion sizes.
Well, when we did the, have I talked to you since we did the beauty pageant? I think so.
I think we've texted, but I don't think we've talked.
But the tuxedo for the beauty pageant.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
I managed, when I went, I had gained weight over the winter and then started losing weight a month before the beauty pageant, the Carnes Fairs to the fair. So when I went to get fitted for the tuxedo, they're like, well, you're the same size as last year. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
At least one of us can say that, Frank.
But I had gone up and...
Hence the watch, so I'm keeping track of the steps now. And I'm using my Y membership finally, so...
Oh. Well, while the kids were here, it was really tough because we were doing all sorts of... First of all, the kids are accustomed to lunch dessert. If they behave themselves, they get lunch dessert and, of course, dinner dessert, and they want to know...
What is lunch dessert?
I know. As soon as we get up in the morning, what's going to be for lunch dessert today? I'm like, I don't even know, but so we have. See, there's still some of it up there. I gave one of them one day. I gave them moon pies. There's some muffins, chocolate chip muffins that are. I guess we need to move those through. I'm gonna give some to Frank Jr. We had popsicles.
Oh yeah.
And I got so aggravated when one of them spilled a Fanta soda in the car that I took it away from him. But then. It was still mostly full. I don't know why we didn't throw it out. But the next day he says, well, what if we made popsicles from my Fanta orange soda? Which, of course, is not what Mom would do. Mom would use, healthy fruit juice.
Yes.
So I made them eat the healthy fruit juice popsicles, and then with the empty molds, we poured in the Fanta orange soda.
You want to talk about things that surprise you about your spouses? Yeah. So one of my sons has been on popsicle kick, and they've been wanting to make homemade popsicles. Thank you, Coco Melon. Any parent out there knows that rainbow popsicle song. But anyways, I digress. So because we have a lot of fresh fruit in our house all the time, so my husband Googled how to make fresh fruit popsicles. So it's literally consists of soaking, you wash the fruit, then you soak it in a little bit of water and sugar mixture for 15 minutes before you blend it up and then put it in. I honestly bowed out of this process. I'm like, it's too much for me. I would have just bought fruit juice, poured it in an ice cube tray and been done with it because that's what my mom did. But he's gone to these extraordinary lengths to make all these different fruit flavored popsicles and different colors.
See, I thought you just put fruit juice in there and then put cut up pieces of strawberries and just dropped them in there and you had chunks.
I mean, you could do that too.
Oh. I guess, but that makes sense.
I mean, my kids also just like eating frozen blueberries. So, I mean, I buy those frozen blueberries and I'll just put them in a bowl and hand them a spoon. I'm like, here you go.
One of my wife's coworkers had so many extra blueberries from her blueberry plants at her home that she brought in containers of them to work. So my wife ends up bringing home these 2 containers of blueberries. And I had already bought blueberries from Michigan. Fancy. And so we ended up freezing. We've got 2-gallon bags of frozen blueberries in there. And
just eat them frozen. It's like a dessert.
They're good. Well, we tried all these other experiments while the kids were here, food experiments, because we did the popsicles, so they want more lunch dessert. One day, we went to D&B's Hot Dogs so they could have ice cream, or Artie could have that concoction I think I've told you about, where it's a hot dog bun with peanut butter, with a banana, with chocolate sauce, with marshmallow sauce, with peanuts on top. They call it the Elvis.
I mean, appropriately named, but it's an actual hot dog bun with all this?
Yeah, well, it's a hot dog restaurant.
Okay.
So they take a hot dog bun and put peanut butter and then a banana and then all that, sugary stuff on top. Huh. And you can't even really pick it up and eat it. You have to basically slice it up.
Yeah, I've actually never eaten there.
It's good. The hot dogs are good, and the ice cream, they have Bluebell ice cream.
Ooh,
and it's the hand-dipped Bluebell ice cream, which means they have flavors that you can't buy in the supermarket, like the salted caramel.
Or the strawberry cheesecake.
Come on. And
so with the Lost Sea, we went Memorial Day weekend, and they had hand-dipped Bluebell, and they had the strawberry cheesecake, and I'd only ever had it in Texas once a long time ago, and it was just as amazing.
It's a big deal, I'm telling you.
It is.
And then one of the guys, I think it's the B, Bruce, he is a parent at the school where my wife works, so he's, we always look for him and wave at him when we see him. It's just nice. I feel like we're helping out.
So maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm not, but for me, hot dogs are very much a special occasion food. I need to be at a ballpark watching my baseball, or occasionally if I'm at a grill out, cookout type holiday gathering, then I'll have them. But other than that, I really don't have them unless I'm craving comfort food, and my comfort food includes macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. However, and I didn't find this out till college, and my friends thought I was a weirdo, my mom never made macaroni and cheese with the milk. She always used sour cream instead. It gives it a rich, creamy flavor. It's really fantastic. To this day, I still like it better, probably because I grew up with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that was not a normal thing until I got to college.
It's not a normal thing.
So macaroni and cheese made that way, but with cut up hot dog in it. Like, is that
that's a good one.
But that's about the only time I ever eat them.
My mother-in-law would make it with hamburger meat. Hamburger macaroni and cheese.
Oh, kind of like a hamburger helper.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just regular macaroni and cheese with just meat in it, so to make it, it would stretch both.
Yeah.
Well, so we did have macaroni and cheese a few times while they were here, but at the hot dog restaurant, you go in. There's just this huge board with like all these pictures of the different hot dogs with the different toppings that you can have on them.
Combinations.
So I get like basically the New York dog, which is the sauerkraut and the spicy brown mustard, and it brings me back to going to the ball game when I was a kid and buying a street hot dog in New York. I liked it. Well, so that's one of the days. We had lunch dessert with the Bluebell ice cream. Another day, we decided we were going to make ice cream.
Oh, okay. Do you have an ice cream maker?
No, but I saw this video on YouTube from Adam Ragusa to make dry ice cream. What he means is it's dry ice plus cream. So it's not really dry ice cream, it's dry ice cream. So we had to go buy dry ice. Jerry had to go to 3 Krogers and 3 Food Cities, 6 different grocery stores.
Yeah, they don't normally have it anymore.
Well, they have the freezers.
They just don't have it.
Because it disappears, it sublimates. If even those freezers at the supermarkets aren't cold enough to preserve the dry ice, it just delays the sublimation. That's why I know.
You're using big words.
If you need sublimation means when it goes immediately from solid to gas with skipping the liquid phase. If you need dry ice for your many, many coolers in your garage, there's a fire extinguisher place on Middlebrook where it changes into University Avenue, and they apparently sell dry ice. Okay. So I found that out when I called the other ice company on Middlebrook Pike, Harmon Ice.
Harmon?
Yeah.
I bought 16 bags of their ice this morning.
I love their ice. It's got the hole in the middle, so all you taste is the cold, which used to be an advertising campaign for a different ice company called Beverly Ice in Washington, D.C., but I still remember it. I
am fascinated by how your brain holds on to these really random nuggets of information that most people would just forget all about.
Well, because then I studied how they make the ice with the hole in the middle, and they make it in a tube.
Of course you did.
They put water in a tube, and then it freezes from the outside, but as the water freezes, the pure part of the water freezes first, and the impurities are pushed to the center, away from the cooling rod, right? So and then they just open up the bottom, and they let the impure water that was in the middle of the ice cube go, and you end up with so what you're left with.
So you're actually getting the really good part of the water.
Yes.
Frozen. Oh.
That's why the ice with the hole in the middle is good. So whatever company you get it from, it doesn't matter to me.
It's the same process.
But I'm saying that's what I like about it. I even told the guy when I called him, I said, "You're the guys with the hole in the ice, right?" He said, "Yeah, I just want to tell you I was a fan." I'm calling to ask if they sell dry ice.
Do they have a restraining order against you now,
I'm calling to see if they sell dry ice so he can make ice cream with it. And he's like, no, but I end up fanboying over his
over ice.
Hole in the middle ice.
Over ice.
Well, so she gets the dry ice, and according to Adam Ragusa's recipe, you put it in some kind of food processor and you grind it up to make snow. So now you've made this bitterly cold snow that will give you frostbite. And it's over there in the blender, the food processor. And the recipe was pretty simple. It was cream and it was milk and it was sugar and vanilla, and you mix all that up.
Yeah.
And then you can add whatever. You can add cocoa powder, or we were throwing in chunks of I like Oreos, so we call it.
All different candies and cookies.
We made cookies and cream ice cream. We made chocolate ice cream. I had fig syrup that I had made myself 2 years ago and never used. So I had made a batch, because you're making it one batch at a time.
Yeah.
So I made some fig ice cream, and I thought it was delightful.
Yeah.
And then you just you take the spoons of the dry ice and you just dump it in to the mixture, and it freezes the stuff while it's grinding up.
And so you essentially are eating the ice with it?
Yeah, you have to make sure you don't have any chunks that would burn, frostbite.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
That's the only thing is you got to look for those white, but they will eventually. The fizz.
So when you eat it, does it make your mouth smoke?
Yes. No. It tastes like a. Imagine we need to do this with the Dr. Pepper flavored ice cream from Bluebell, because it makes the vanilla ice cream taste like a float, a Coke float. The carbonic acid stays in there, so it's got this feeling that you recognize from drinking sodas.
Yeah. Well, they did a really good job with that Dr. Pepper flavored ice cream.
We bought some of that at Aldi so that the boys could have it.
I will say it's not as satisfying as an actual Dr. Pepper
that.
float,
but
they did nail the flavor.
If we mix in some dry ice,
then maybe it'll take it to a different level.
You'll be blown away. And then the other one thing before you go is, I'll tell you, the other food experiment, the boys, they love the dinosaur nuggets, right? The chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs. You probably buy those.
My kids aren't really into chicken nuggets. One kid doesn't like toddler food or kid food much at all. He likes things like tortilla soup and tacos, which I'm all for.
Interesting.
The other one is just finicky.
Well, it was similar. We had, Lucy and Charlie here for a week, and Artie and Timmy here for 2 weeks. So there's different combinations of who'll eat what and who won't eat what, because they're all.
And sometimes it changes depending on the day with the same kid.
So it might have been for one of them would eat the dino nuggets and broccoli, and one of them would not. One of them would eat carrots and not broccoli. It's all these different things. Well, my wife and I both bought dino nuggets. We have way too many of them, and I saw probably on Instagram.
Yeah.
An orange chicken hack. So this is like, we love orange chicken from like Panda Express, right?
Yeah.
So they have this hack where you take orange marmalade and Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and maybe a little bit of soy sauce, and you mix that together, and you've made an orange chicken sauce, an imitation orange chicken sauce that comes pretty close to restaurant taste.
Okay.
Then you take chicken nuggets, or usually they would use a popcorn chicken, but I thought, it'd be funnier if we got dinosaur nuggets.
I mean, you don't want to waste it.
Right. So the kids are sitting over there eating regular dinosaur nuggets, dipping in ketchup, and my wife and I have taken our dinosaur nuggets and mixed them into this orange chicken sauce that we've cooked up.
I think that's really creative. I mean, normally, like, my husband and I have no qualms. Like, toddler food's amazing. It really is. Like, it's kind of nice with our kids being that young, because all of a sudden, all these foods that we always liked as a kid, but then once you get to a certain point in your life, you're like, well, it's not acceptable to eat like that. It's not the healthiest.
Macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes.
But it's just like, so you get to live vicariously through your kids who are eating the stuff, so.
Yes. Yeah. Lunch dessert. Grandpa had a lot of lunch dessert, is what I'm telling you.
We try to stay away from desserts that often, but they still usually get about one sweet thing a day.
I am a sucker for desserts. I mean,
Artie, I am too, Frank. That's why I got the Y membership.
Artie, we stop on the way here. We stop at Cracker Barrel and Dairy Queen in Rowan and Salem, and then Buc-ee's in Sevierville, and we make all the things. And Artie was allowed to pick up a treat at one of these places, and they both were, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And at the Cracker Barrel, he bought the circus peanuts, those orange.
Oh, the marshmallowy things.
That he and I love the same gross candies. Like, I like candy corn.
It's genetic. I love candy corn.
And he loves the circus peanuts. And this one had an explanation on it about how this was invented back in the 1870s. And I even had him read it out on the radio because he just thought it was the funniest thing. Since 1876, circus peanuts have been entertaining millions. It's unusual because it's a marshmallow flavored like a banana, but shaped like a peanut. So
yeah.
Anyway, we had a lot of fun.
And on that, I have to go to my day job.
All right. Well, next time you're here, I'll talk about how we went to a mead tasting, how I'm saving the fig stories. I can't talk about my fig tree damage in anywhere near. I have to pretend that it's unrelated to the storm damage that you had and everyone else had.
There's the irony. You look at our neighborhood and the surrounding areas, there's no damage in our neighborhood.
Wherever your power goes.
Why is our power out? Normally, we're the people who get the power back on within like 20 minutes and we're fine. This is the first time it's ever been taken out like this, and I don't know why.
Where your transformers are, so if you go back to where your main power comes from, there must be some pretty big trees down. I saw telephone poles with the transformers on them that were at a 30-degree angle. They looked terrible. So
yeah. So, but I know we're not alone. So, cheers to everybody in the same boat, and just hoping our power comes back today.
And by the time you watch, actually, the only way you can watch this is probably if your power's come back on because your phone's dead.
Or you've gone to work so you can get your charge.
Yeah, spend your time watching this show on YouTube. Please do subscribe and hit the like button. If you also like audio entertainment, you can listen to thousands of titles with new ones coming out every week from Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/FrankandFriends Show. That is our URL. And if you sign up for the free 30-day premium membership, you're benefiting us because that's how the deal works. It's a per inquiry thing. I mean, I'll be honest. And you also get to try that out and keep an MP3 download during that first month. And then your membership will continue until you sell it to stop with a free MP3 download every month as part of your membership. You get a credit for that goes on and on and on. And you can stream, you can listen on all your devices, and it saves your place whether you switch from the Amazon Echo to the iPhone app to the, I think you can hear it through some Kindles even.
I think you can.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways. It's owned by Amazon, so you know they've found a way to get it into
everything.
Soon it'll be coming out of your palm print. Have you heard about that?
It'll be on your watch.
Have you heard about that? Their new payment method? I'll tell you about that later. So,
I'm like, this sounds like a sci-fi movie with Justin Timberlake.
You're going to go to Whole Foods and scan your palm print, and they'll charge your Amazon account.
Like your...
It's called Amazon One, I think, or something. I don't know. Anyway, that you register your palm print with Amazon.
I'm not ready for that.
All right. Well, anyway, audibletrial.com/FrankandFriends show. Please do sign up. There's probably an audiobook and probably a podcast on Audible that'll explain what I just attempted to explain.
I'm sure.
About
Probably
the palm
20.
print. Also, our merch at frankandfriendsshow.com/store. Thank you very much for being here, dear Becca. Is there anything else I can do for you while I can fan you a little bit to keep you cool?
No, I'm good. The air conditioning is just delightful.
Panera bread earrings?
No, they're coffee. They're just little coffee earrings. There's a local artisan. I wish I knew his name, but he's at the farmers markets in Market Square on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and he makes all these really cool wood earrings.
Oh, they're nice.
And they're not expensive, but they're fantastic, and I use them as gifts for like all the things. So if you get your ears pierced, I'll buy you a pair.
Well, then you don't have to worry about that. I'm too chicken. This is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Becca James.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again next time.